Avatar, The Way of Water, like the first one, wants to put the viewer in the mindset that they are in an actual avatar on a journey. The expectations seem to mirror the reviews, though. Either you were excited that there's a new movie coming out, you got back into the world of Avatar, and you couldn't wait to see what happened, or you were saying, oh, it's 13 years too late for a movie that no one remembers. Since it came out, I have seen it twice, with the second viewing securing my overall feeling for the experience. In recent months, especially after the Lord of the Rings series review debacle on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, the validity of these sites have been in question, but it's still a curiosity to see what the sites are saying and what people are saying, assuming no bots are involved. And with the Avatar Way of Water, pretty much any review, whether positive or negative, of course says that the visual effects are great. Not to downplay how superior they are, I just don't use them as a pro for how good the movie is. Browsing through the critical reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, of course, most of them talk about the cinematic visual magic and the spectacle and things like that. But taking a look at the negative reviews, typically spend a lot of time talking about how the movie's boring or shallow. Even this one mentions that there are definite problems of logic and lechery despite gorgeous visuals. That's without addressing the problems of the white savior narrative, which I do not know what that means. And checking out the user reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, of course, most are all great scores with a 92% overall positive rating from their users. It does get interesting when you look at some of the reviews, such as this 1-star review here, where they talk about buying tickets to the wrong movie theater and their experience, which has nothing to do with the quality of the movie, so why is this review even on the website? And of course, more go into slow moving, weak plot, longest movie ever, which not true, but an hour too long. Switching over to the IMDb, I always like looking at the scores out of 1 through 10 and seeing how many people give them each number. And this is a very typical, what you would expect to see type of rating, where you see most people agreeing in one general area and then maybe some stragglers thinking of something different. Like I was talking about in the Babylon movie review, a lot of people nowadays tend to score movies 1 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 just to move the score in the direction that they want it to go in. Then taking a look at the actual user reviews on IMDb, pretty much a lot of the same from Rotten Tomatoes. Nothing too different. You either get praises or really negative reviews, although there are some 6, 5s, 4s in here that obviously make up a little bit of the population out there. But overall, I think we can come to a general consensus that critics and audiences, critics less so, but audiences really like it, critics mostly like it, and all for the same reasons as far as the positive and negatives go. To address people's issues with the runtime and the boring plot, the pacing worked for me very well. I don't care that the running time says over 3 hours. Many movies half as long feel twice the length. And that is where the editing shines as well as the set pieces. For instance, the last act never gets bogged down by the feeling like it's action for the sake of being action, like some other movies out there. The characters and the conflict drive the action for me. Some movies work best to have in-depth plot and characters. I believe that would be a detriment to the first 2 Avatar movies. By the end of this movie, it felt like there was more plot and characterization that one would assume. It doesn't feel so much that way while you're watching it, especially in the first half. But as the movie goes on and on and on, you start realizing the plot and the characters in your mind. And the types of movies where there is seemingly quote-unquote no plot always reminds me of a quote I saw years back about Keanu Reeves. Someone was mentioning that, oh, he's not a very good actor. How does he get all of these roles? How is he so popular? And then someone else counterpointed and saying, well, his stoicism allows him to be kind of a blank slate that viewers can actually connect with and see themselves in the role that he's playing in the movie. And Avatar is very, very similar. It's a story where you put yourself in the shoes of an avatar, and in this one, you almost become one of Jake and Neytiri's kids. Like the Avatar bodies, the movie is a vessel to inhabit. I too want to learn the way of the water. I want to swim in the ocean, meet new creatures, and understand a different culture. I'm glad I can be shown how it would feel to live amongst the Metkayina clan rather than being told through dialogue. After watching the movie, I had a newfound respect for nature, water in this case, and the importance of family. Good and bad happens in a family, but sticking together is what's most important. The whales might be an anti-whaling message, but it never felt like I was being lectured about it. It's the accepting of the bad thing that the whale Payakan did and accepting the good that he can bring as opposed to him being left as an outcast. These are things that anyone can relate to. Overall, everything worked for me. I will proudly defend the negatives and nitpicking naysayers have, because I left the theater both times enthralled about how I felt after experiencing The Way of the Water. It's my favorite film of the year so far, and no matter how many people will talk negatively about it, it's a movie that will stand the test of time. That's an achievement that is waiting 13 years for. I hope everyone enjoyed the review of Avatar: The Way of Water. I've been thinking about experimenting with the ways I do reviews. Maybe I can do more reviews where I'm showing ratings on websites, or I can just do the entire review in front of the camera. Maybe I'll get some comments that says they like one way or over the other, or maybe I'll just go back and forth depending on the type of movie that I'm reviewing and how I feel at the time. Either way, catch you on the next one.